Hey F1 fans, we're going to do round 10 of the 2012 season on the preview video. We're going to Germany, Hockenheim, classic F1 track, to some extent at least. It's not the original circuit layout, and I think since about 2006 or 7, that kind of period of time. They basically cut off the forest area, probably for environmental reasons. I cannot actually remember, but it's probably something like that. Politically something went on, hadn't there? But now we're basically down to the stadium section, and it goes into a huge hairpin. And it's a good track, I think. I'm certainly ready for some more Formula One. I don't quite remember Hockenheim last year. I'm very much assuming in that case then that it alternates with Nürburgring. I think it does, and that would make the most sense. So yeah, some good F1 racing moments in history there. Home race for quite a few drivers, and I personally, Silverstone, it was a decent race in Britain, but definitely ready for some more action. So here we go. First of all, I'm going to give you a bit of a news rundown. Recent F1 event. We haven't had a lot happen in the last couple of weeks, really. There was some kind of young driver test that wasn't really anything at all, and hardly anybody participated. It wasn't really much. Secondly, coming into the weekend, McLaren have got a lot of new bits and pieces, upgrades. Apparently, a vastly improved side pod area, according to Martin Whitmarsh, boss of McLaren. I'll have to see. I haven't actually seen any images or anything like that, but well. I'm not surprised they're at least trying something. We'll see how it goes. You'll see in my predictions that I don't expect radical change, but I expect them to certainly cut off the bad runner form and just get back to normality, really, as per McLaren. So that should be good. News is also that the DRS will be basically on the home straight, and there's only going to be one. Sometimes there are two per track, but just one. Exit the stadium area onto the straight, and that's going to be your one and only DRS. I don't know how that's going to play out, but it seems a reasonable place. It's one of the longest straights on the track, if not the. So that makes a lot of sense. I'll see how that goes. And also, really, the only thing of any interest for me, really, I'll be honest, is where's Hamilton going to go, if he's going to go anywhere. Driver market and essentially like a transfer market. It's all very interesting. However, a bit like the last couple of years, really, I don't see a lot of changes. Mark Webber is re-signed for Red Bull. Vettel's got a contract at Red Bull. And so most drivers are generally speaking sticking put. So basically, Hamilton's contract runs out at the end of the year with McLaren. He hasn't really got anywhere else to go that is traditionally a competitive team. Anywhere else would be a risk. He's obviously not completely happy with McLaren at the moment, but it looks like he's going to stay there. He'd obviously like to move to if there was such a better team with an open seat available. I'm sure he would quite like a change. But I think he'll just do 1 year at McLaren with some kind of flexible multi-deal if he so wishes. But I don't know. They also want him to take a pay cut, so it's interesting, but I think basically it'll just result in him signing on again. So without further ado, I'll do some predictions. I think Webber's on a hugely rich vein of form. I think he's got a lot of confidence back again. I think he's driving like just like he did in 2010. It's great for Webber fans. Very good win in Silverstone. Pretty much had the beating of Vettel and Alonso. The strategy, I think, had a significant impact, but nonetheless drove very well, deserved to win. So I've gone for actually a Vettel pole, because any other scenario seems odd, really. He seems to know exactly what to do and how to do it. The Red Bull seems to be the fastest car on the track. Vettel is a bit of a qualifying specialist, as we know, so that's going to happen. Vettel on pole, and then I'm going to go for a Webber win. I think very typical of one of many 2010 races. Vettel on pole, Webber gets a good start and takes it probably on the first corner, and then quite close between Webber and Vettel, and then they'll just call team orders towards the end of the race, and that'll be the end of it. So Red Bull 1-2, then I've got a Hamilton third, bouncing back quite nicely from sort of quite recent poor resulting events. I think McLaren should be a better car. Certainly Lewis has got a lot to drive for. I can't really recall his previous results, but it seems about time Lewis had a decent result again, and a podium seems about right, but I don't expect him to win or anything, unless the car is really improved to such an extent, but I don't think so. Rosberg fourth. Mercedes just seem to have lost their way in the last 2 or 3 races. I think they've had a lot of bad luck and mostly bad strategy calls, actually. I think they've still got quite a bit of raw pace. I'm not sure, but it's kind of pseudo home Grand Prix for Rosberg, so that might have something to do with it. Yeah, so fourth seems about right, really, without reading too much more into it. Alonso fifth. Not sure of the Ferrari pace. One would assume it's going to be pretty strong because it has been in recent races, so it'll surely roll on to the next one, but I'm not sure. Although they were strong here in 2010, hence the Fernando is faster than you debacle, so possibilities for Ferrari there. I think I could potentially see it. Gone for a conservative fifth, I think that's about right. Solid points for the championship leader. Grosjean sixth. He has a grid penalty. I think gearbox change or something. So automatic five-place gearbox penalty. So he's going to qualify something like third or fourth. After the penalty, he'll be ninth or something. And then I can see him making his way steadily up via tyre conservation as per usual, getting something like sixth place. That seems about right. Jensen seventh. Slightly improved McLaren as I see it, potentially, and an albeit gradual upward curve in results for Jensen, getting a few more points in seventh. But this is where it's difficult for the remainder of the top 10, because I've omitted such people as Michael Schumacher and Raikkonen, but there are so many midfield runners that on their day could score very highly or could just crash out, as we saw last time out in Silverstone. So Perez 8th, I think he'll finish this time, looking very strong last race actually. Get the strategy right, it could be a race of tyre conservation rather than any real excitement. I see it as that kind of a race actually. Maldonado 9th, bouncing back from the crash with Perez last race. I think though that we won't see any real clash. They'll probably have a very separate race. Yeah, the Williams is about there, about 9th place in most races, so seems consistent with the past results. And finally 10th place Massa. Again, Ferrari could be reasonably strong, and Massa with an upward curve of progress and results, driving really well, fighting for his Ferrari career really still, but a very good 4th place last time out. Of course, you could have won here in 2010 if it wasn't for the team order stuff. So yeah, I think it's actually quite conservative. 1 point for Massa there, only because I think the team might be, as many times in the past, a bit preoccupied with Alonso and his strategy, and Massa kind of gets a little bit forgotten. So I can see that happening. 10th place for Massa at 1 point. Fastest lap, Mark Webber. Basically, with the tyre situation this year, it seems to me that anybody could get the fastest lap if they just bolt on a set of tyres a few laps before the end of the race. And any lap of any great quality before then is set with high fuel and won't be ultimately the fastest lap. So it's a bit of a lottery, so I'm just going to go with who I presume to be the fastest man on the track most of the weekend. So Mark Webber, fastest lap. And it should be a good Grand Prix. I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but I imagine it's going to be significantly better than the kind of weather that we saw with Britain and Silverstone. So yeah, should be another good race. Very excited for some more Formula 1 action. Last weekend was a bit poor for motor racing fans, and not much going on really, so yeah, should be very good. Championship's pretty interesting. It's all It's not necessarily closed up, but we've definitely got a sense of who's going to be who. So we know who to watch out for. It's the Red Bulls, Ferrari, and potentially Hamilton. So it should be very good. And I'm looking forward to the race. Thanks for watching the video, and join me again soon for another one.